Facts must bother leftists because they always walk away as soon as you recite them.
You can make
You have a ton of leftists here who are still standing here.
Well, I've already made a couple leave, but I'm happy to keep talking.
Oh, you made a couple.
Well, that's great.
No, but let's get back. Can you,
No, that's quantifiable evidence.
if white privilege exists, why are Asian Americans and Indian Americans wealthier, have higher incomes, live in better areas on aggregate than white Americans do?
I don't know.
Maybe because white privilege doesn't exist.
Maybe, or maybe
Oh,
there's...
maybe it doesn't. Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe skin color has nothing to do with it,
But
and
I
choices
disagree
have
with
everything to do with it.
I disagree with that.
Then show me some evidence, because I just showed you some evidence that it doesn't exist.
What would you take as evidence? What counts for you?
Something that I just said, for example, that the wealthiest
Some
people in
numbers
America,
that you made
yeah,
up.
numbers would be nice, historical data,
How about
logic.
testimony?
No, testimony means
testimony
nothing.
count?
I don't care about anyone's version of truth. I care about evidence. I don't care about feelings. I care about facts.
I really appreciate the fact that Charlie Kirk mentioned that Asians do better than white people, because it debunks this whole myth that there's white privilege. And a lot of people do not mention the fact that Asians, both in where I live in England and in America, perform better than white people. But as I keep saying, how come they never mention that? Because it doesn't go with their agenda. They just follow what they hear on social media, that there's white privilege and people of color, as they call them, are oppressed, and woe is me and the victim Olympics is all they love to talk about.
Aren't most of these studies partially based on testimony, though?
No, when you say that Asian Americans are the richest people in America, that's math. That's looking at people's income. That's not testimony.
Okay.
Testimony would be a singular person saying, I've had a tough time. That would be testimony, which that might be true, but that doesn't make it true in the aggregate.
Black people?
I'm sorry?
Is there discrimination?
There's discrimination against all sorts of people.
Yeah, is it worse against black people or is it equal?
Depends what part of the country, it depends what situation. And when that
So
exists,
if you put it
there's
all
laws to
together,
put
which
people in
one-
prison.
If you put them all together, which race faces the most discrimination?
I would say probably Hispanic Americans in certain parts of the country, even more so. But I have no data to support that. You asked me some anecdotal question. I haven't done that much thinking about it. But I'll say this. In America, if you make a sequence of good choices irrelevant of skin color, you will be rewarded for those choices. We're one of the only countries in the world where that is possible, where you can have intergenerational ascension, where your kids can be better than how you are today.
Before we get back into the video, I need all of you to turn on your post notifications so that you get notified when one of my videos come out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video if you enjoyed the video, comment down below. I'll try and reply to as many comments as possible, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at YinkaThatGuy. Let's get back into the video.
It's like kind of a fallacy.
It's not a fallacy. That's why Asian Americans
apply to
entered.
everybody.
That's why Asian Americans entered in the 1940s as the poorest group in America, and they're now the richest group. The Constitution was not written in Korean, yet they have benefited the most from what people call a white predominant society. Indian Americans, for example, from India, are the second richest per race.
Was the
category in
Constitution
America.
written in Hindi?
No, that's exactly the point.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Continue.
The point is that people say that our society is rigged for white individuals and white men. The evidence does not suggest that. There's twice as many white people living in poverty today than black people. Now, the rate for poverty in the black community is much higher, but the aggregate number is something that should not be ignored. So the misconception that our country is rigged just for people based on a certain skin color has zero evidence.
Do white liberals not get tired of trying to tell everyone that they're oppressed? Well, not everyone, black people specifically, and the people that they call people of color. I am not oppressed. As I keep saying in all my other videos, the work I put in, the result I get out. There is no one equal on the planet Earth, and to suggest otherwise is just pure stupidity. I'm tired of white liberals and some black people as well complaining about how oppressed they are. It's absolutely annoying. You would get further in life by working rather than complaining about things.
That is the predominant thing that is being taught in our university.
When did it stop?
What do you mean?
When did it not be rigged anymore? Because it clearly used to be rigged. You're saying it isn't rigged now.
That's a fair point. I'd say throughout the 60s and 70s and 80s, as America got significantly less racist, as we passed the Civil Rights Act, things got more equitable in the sense where better decisions got rewarded more.
And you don't think that there could be a lag effect of 350 years of slavery and 100 years of Jim Crow?
I think those inequities have been more balanced out, more so than even worth considering that 350 years of inequity. For example, Asian Americans built the railroad system in America in the late 1800s, early 1900s in America. We put Japanese Americans in internment camps in the 1940s. Jewish Americans had an extermination order against them in Europe in the 1940s. The point being is that right. So almost every racial ethnic group has had some form of suffering. So to point to something that happened a very, very long time ago and to attribute the inequity today to that.
It wasn't that long ago, though.
When was slavery abolished?
Slavery was abolished in 1808. The international slave trade was gotten rid of. But then we actually resorted to chattel slavery, which is where we bred them like cattle.
You're not going to hear me defend slavery for a second. No, I mean,
that's good because
it's one of the great sins of the American. It's one of the great sins of the American story. But you know what's also admirable about it? How we got rid of slavery. Because
admirable about slavery?
No. What's admirable about our history, not about slavery.
Okay. Thank you.
But we still haven't dealt with like the repercussions.
What repercussions would that be?
The lack of the ability for certain people to accumulate wealth.
Such as who?
I don't know, like I was down in New Orleans, right, and I see all these mansions, and it's like those people, that old mansions, they made their money, they're probably slave owners. Then you go into a black neighborhood and it's like...
But they might have been slave owners in 1865
yeah, they
when the
have
American...
that accumulated wealth that can compound versus people that don't have the opportunity.
Oh, okay, so you're making a fair point that there might be intergenerational inequity. How do you go about that? Well, some people on the left would say, you tax it, you take away from what people used to have. I totally and completely disagree with that.
What do you think?
As Charlie Kirk rightfully pointed out, every race has faced some sort of inequality or injustice towards their race. The problem with white liberals and black liberals is they love to complain about specific groups being people of color, as they love to call them. And they love to ignore that every other race, including white people, also faced oppression. And I mentioned this in previous videos of mine and other videos of mine, that Irish people who, by the way, are white, also faced oppression in America, but they never talk about that. White people also faced oppression. Every race on the planet Earth has faced some sort of oppression, and these people love to ignore it. They just love to follow the agenda that's being pushed out right now, and that's that black people are oppressed, and we can't do anything without our white liberal saviors who need to come and save the day, because we can't do anything, apparently.
And what is your case?
Because
how
I
do
don't.
you reparations then?
There's no reparations. I believe in opportunity. Instead of trying to fix the past, which will never happen, which is a horrible idea, you create a better future.
It'll never happen.
No, because you know why? Any country that's ever tried reparations has failed miserably. South Africa, for example. They've tried reparations for the last 30 years. They're more racially divided on the brink of civil war than they ever have been.
Do you think we're on the brink of civil war?
I hope not.
You think so?
No, I said I hope not.
But I asked if you think so.
No, I don't think we are. But it's people on the left that want us to be more divided than not.
No, I think it's like you.
No.
You're here trying to divide people.
Hold on a second. Do you support black-only dormitories?
Sure.
You do? Okay. That's resegregation. You realize that.
The absolute irony of him saying he doesn't want people to be separated and people to be fighting, but then he goes on to say he supports black-only dormitories. The irony of the stupidity of the answer he just came up with is very hilarious. White liberals want to be so inclusive that they go towards pushing towards segregation again.
I think if black people want to do that, we should allow them to, because they have to face a...
Well, then would you support white-only dormitories?
No.
Why?
Because pretty much the school is white owned. Pretty much every dormitory is white owned.
I don't know the demographic makeup of Oregon, but looking around, I'd say it's a more diverse campus than just being a white-only campus.
If black people want... Yeah.
So you believe in black-only graduation ceremonies at Harvard?
If they want that, sure.
So
why do I care? Why does it bug me?
Well, it should bug you that we're resegregating parts of the population.
There's a difference.
That people marched in this. What's the difference?
If white people say that black people have to be separate.
What's the difference of skin color? What's the difference between a white person and a black person?
Tell you.
Tell me what's the difference between a white person and a black person.
I don't know. I'm not.
There's no difference. They're both human beings. There's only one race, the human race.
They're treated differently.
How are they treated differently? Give me one piece of evidence. What can a black person not do in America that I can do?
They get treated differently by the police, and I've seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though the data shows that a black person.
Data can be used to lie.
So facts don't matter.
Police
essentially.
departments are actually capable of policing their own records, so the ability.
Even though most of the inner city police forces are black majority police forces.
Are they?
Okay,
Such as
that's
Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a 44% black city with a 56% black police
That
force.
bugs you?
No, it actually gives me happiness. That
Really?
yeah, because I care about all people, and I don't look at people based on race like you
So
do.
you're post-racial?
Absolutely.
Because it does.
You're not. You're the one that wants black-only graduation ceremonies and black-only
Hilarious.
dormitories. You're okay with that?
Yes,
I'm
you
okay with
did.
that.
Yeah, because
We desegregated America.
Because that argument
Literally
works for you, it's not
segregation
just-
again.
It's not.
There's still a lot of problems. And like to say that if people want to have.
But the problems are not based on race.
Yeah, they are. There's
You
tons
have-
of racial problems.
The group who claim that they're not racist base a lot of things that they talk about on race. This individual genuinely said that he would want black only dormitories, and he believes in his mind he doesn't see people based on the race and the color of their skin. This is the world that we're living in the West, and it's hilarious to me to see these types of discussions happening and to see the answers that come out of some of these students' mouths.
You have yet to give me any evidence or data or one piece
Do
of
you
example.
believe that there are any racial problems?
Individually, absolutely. Are there individually committed people that are racist? 100%.
Do
And
you
is the
believe
president
that
one
there
of
are
them?
No,
systemic
President
racial
Trump is one of the
issues?
least racist people in America.
Whatever.
Do you
Say
believe
don't
that-
like facts.
No, give me one evidence that he's
How
racist.
about he got caught discriminating against giving out
Complete and
housing?
total false, not true whatsoever.
Okay,
Would-
so
would-
you can not believe facts.
Wait, no.
whatever you
Would
want.
a
Okay.
racist president such as President Donald Trump put a black woman as the
That
first
doesn't-
Army sergeant
that is not
ever
a
in the
real
history of the United
argument.
States Army?
That I'm
Would
not
it-
racist to have a black friend argument.
The first
doesn't
Army
fly.
sergeant,
what-
the first Army sergeant ever in the history of the U.S. Army?
The
That's
woman,
not true.
The first woman battalion commander, you can look
Oh,
it up.
okay, battalion
confirmed by
commander
the
is
United
different than
States
a
Senate.
sergeant.
The first black woman confirmed by the United States Senate in a position of the United States Army ever. Here's a very simple
Okay.
question for you. At what point does someone stop being a racist in your mind?
I haven't thought about it.
You haven't thought, but yet you're quick to label, but you're not quick to retract or have a line in your head. That's pretty dangerous,
maybe
isn't
when
it?
they die.
When they die. That's pretty sinister. Do you think I'm a racist?
Yeah.
No, hold on a second. He thinks I'm a racist. Why would you say I'm a racist?
Just the stuff you're saying.
Name one thing I've said that's ever racist.
Whatever, I'm not gonna play that game with you.
He doesn't need a hype guy. He doesn't need a hype guy. He's doing good on his own.
But this is what's so wrong with our country, is he's quick to call me a racist with no evidence, no data.
The fact that you don't believe in white privilege.
I don't believe in white privilege because I believe in data, facts, and logic.
The ones that fit your point of view, but when I give you a fact,
You haven't
say
given
it's
me
not
any
true.
facts whatsoever.
Donald Trump discriminated against people.
He did not. The Department of Justice investigated it and dropped the investigation.
He just claimed that if you don't believe there's white privilege, you are racist. I don't believe there's white privilege. I guess I'm racist. But at the same time, these will be the same people who say black people can't be racist towards white people. I'm just being prejudiced. But anyway, that was another video, another reaction. As I usually say, if you guys enjoyed the video, like the video as much as possible, comment down below, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter at YinkaThatGuy, and I'm out.